Is Donald Trump about to be crowned the king of the world? And you know what that implies.
As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game.
Is Donald Trump about to be crowned and declared as the king of the world? And we know who the king of the world will be. Thank you for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is November 20th, 2025. And let's just jump into, are we seeing the arrival of the Antichrist? We know one of the main attributes of the Antichrist is a deceiver. And have the massive amounts of people been deceived? Let's get into this. Trump was elected on the premise that he was America First man, that he was tired of America coming in second to every other country, and he was going to put America first again, and all the Christians and conservatives, yay, that's what we need. God is sending us a man to put our needs first. What is the main characteristic and attribute mentioned about the Antichrist? He shall deceive many, and have many been deceived. From November 16th, 4 days ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene says Trump's policies are not America first and fight over Make America Great Again. 1 hour ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, he's calling her a traitor because she's not standing behind him. She's like, what about America first? He's calling her Marjorie Traitor Greene. An hour ago, Washington Post reported Trump Marjorie Taylor Greene breakup shakes MAGA. Mom and dad are separated. Marjorie Taylor Greene said yesterday that Trump never endorsed her, so she doesn't owe him anything to speak out. So let's go back to October when Trump signed the peace plan. Gaza Peace Plan wins global backing. Oh, well, this is the one from a couple of days ago, but then we're going to go back to the Peace 2025 that was signed in October. So this is from November 18th, 2025, from NBC News. So a couple of days ago, the UN backed Trump's Gaza plan. Trump's Gaza Peace Plan wins global backing. Now comes the hard part. So Trump's been flying all over the world making agreements with different nations. Some say taking bribes. Got the airplane from Qatar. This was from November 17th. Donald Trump walks past American flag that appears to be touching the ground in viral White House photos. So the UN approves Trump's peace plan for Israel and Gaza and Hamas. And at the same time, we're seeing the American flag on the ground at the White House. The imagery and symbolism of that reminds me of that movie, Olympus Has Fallen. Just months after President Trump boasted about installing 2 large flagpoles on White House lawn, he comes under fire for appearing to violate U.S. flag code. Trump returned to Washington, D.C. from another weekend at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida on Sunday, November 16th, where he was photographed walking past a flagpole while the American flag appeared to have been lowered to the ground. This is fake news, White House spokesman David Engel tells people in the statement. The big, beautiful American flag on the White House South Lawn that was recently installed by President Trump never touched the ground. Due to high winds on Sunday evening in Washington, D.C. area, the flag was lowered into a special container. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Out of an abundance of caution during Marine One landing. Title 4 of the U.S. Flag Code chapter states the flag should never touch anything beneath it, such as the ground, the floor, water, or merchandise. Well, wouldn't a special container be merchandise? Trump's America First. America First is a political slogan and foreign policy doctrine associated with Donald Trump that prioritizes what he defines as American interest above all others. 13 hours ago. Why does Trump, the America First president, keep looking to foreign leaders? Now, that's our foundational part. Now let's go back to October 2025 when he signed the Peace 2025 agreement. Yes, as of October 2025, the U.S. President Donald Trump signed an agreement related to the first phase of a Gaza peace plan that resulted in a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This agreement is part of a broader 20-point plan, and this is what the UN just approved, aimed at ending the war in Gaza and achieving lasting peace in the Middle East. So we all remember that. I did a huge video on that and the prophetic implications of that. And this isn't fake news. This is from the whitehouse.gov, presidential actions, the Trump Declaration for Enduring Peace and Prosperity. Does this sound like America First? And he's soliciting other nations to get involved. Trump urges world leaders to join Abraham Accords. There are no more Gaza or Iran excuses. It sounds like Trump is a global ambassador. This was from October 25th. Rubio says U.S. is getting input on Gaza international force. We'll discuss in Qatar. Muslim states join European powers in backing Trump's Gaza plan. 8 Arab or Muslim majority nations in a joint statement on Monday said they welcome the role of Trump in his sincere efforts aimed at ending the war in Gaza. This is from September 30th, 2025. I've been meaning to get to this, but we saw 2 days the Saudi crown prince, who Trump seems to now have a bromance with, was in the White House. But did y'all see the reporter that confronted the Saudi crown prince for his involvement with killing a journalist? Listen to this.
Stepped in answering first, defending the crown prince. Tonight, another remarkable scene unfolding, this time at the White House. President Trump welcoming the Saudi crown prince, who has been isolated from the world stage for years. The CIA, during President Trump's first term, determined that the crown prince was responsible for the murder of a Washington Post journalist. Today, when the crown prince was pressed on this by our Mary Bruce, the president stepped in answering first, defending the crown prince, saying things happen, and calling the crown prince, quote, a very good friend of mine. Mary Bruce at the White House tonight.
For a long time isolated on the global stage, tonight Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, fully embraced by President Trump, welcomed to the White House with horses on parade, a military flyover, and a personal tour. Trump pulling out all the stuff.
And Trump doesn't give a fist bump. See, I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand.
Trump heaping praise on the Crown Prince.
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
But it was the CIA under Donald Trump who determined in 2018 that the Crown Prince orchestrated the murder and dismemberment of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. President Trump bristling when I asked about that. Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir. The president answering first, defending the Crown Prince, and instead criticizing the journalist who was murdered.
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
But the Crown Prince, who rarely faces the press, defended himself.
It's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose. It's painful and it's a huge mistake.
He's been eager to cultivate ties to Saudi Arabia, traveling there for the first foreign trip of both his presidential terms. And his family has been doing big business in Saudi.
Trump Tower, Jeddah. Coming soon.
Trump Towers going up in Jeddah and in Riyadh, a Trump Plaza now in the works. In the last year alone, the Trump Organization's Saudi partner pumping more than $20 million into the family business. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, also has deep business ties to the country. Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? The president dismissing the notion.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot.
The Crown Prince coming here today with a major new financial commitment, agreeing to in the U.S., but that's no comfort to Khashoggi's widow, Hanan. Tonight, she tells me that there was no justification for her husband's murder, and she continues to call for the Crown Prince to apologize. David.
Mary Bruce asking the questions at the White House today. Mary, thank you.
So think about that. Trump justifies the killing of a journalist. And look at the Saudi Crown Prince's face and demeanor as Trump is addressing this.
A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen.
That was an absolutely stunning moment inside the Oval Office just now, where the Saudi Crown Prince was visiting the White House for the first time in years, and for the first time since U.S. intelligence concluded that he had personally ordered the murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was taken inside of a Saudi consulate, killed, and then dismembered. But when a reporter tried to ask the Saudi Crown Prince about his death...
And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you?
President Trump stepped in, scolded the reporter, and then not only that, justified the murder of Jamal Khashoggi by claiming that the reporter was controversial.
But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Despite Trump claiming that MBS knew nothing about Khashoggi's death, it was Trump's own CIA in his first term that found that the Saudi Crown Prince had ordered it. You also heard the president praise the human rights record of MBS and also criticize President Biden for only fist bumping him when the two of them met, with President Trump saying he would shake his hand.
And the Crown Prince says he will increase his investment into the United States to $1 trillion. So is that why Trump is defending him? So going back to a month ago, this is from USA Today, Trump says that the Gaza stabilization force is coming soon, and he praised Qatar, who gave him the airplane, who Trump has given a military base on U.S. soil. Trump says Gaza stabilization force is coming soon. Does this sound like America first? This should be an enduring peace, President Trump told reporters when asked about the situation in Gaza after a refueling stop Saturday in Qatar. And I did a whole video on that. So Trump's Gaza Peace Plan, on February 4, 2025, the President Donald Trump declared his intent for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip and expel Palestinians from the territory. The United States to take control of Gaza. I've done lots of videos on it, but let's keep going. It is reported that President Trump's peace plan is based on a paper drawn up by economics professor Joseph Pelsman on February 21st, 2025. After opposition from Arab states, Trump said he would recommend but not enforce his plan for the U.S. takeover of Gaza and the resettlement of the Palestinian population. But this is from May 9th, 2025, and it seems like it's been on Trump's radar for at least 6 months.
There's this Reuters report that the U.S. is in talks with Israel about an American-led post-war administration in Gaza. Is that accurate? Are these talks ongoing?
We are in constant communication and dialogue with our counterparts and our allies and friends in Israel. As for the situation in Gaza, the president and his entire national security team have made it very clear we want to see the hostages released from Gaza. That is a priority for this administration. As for what that looks like, and even moving beyond that, I'm not going to get into the details of plans that frankly may or may not have even been proposed, but I can emphasize what the president holds closest in his heart right now, and that's the release of all of the hostages in Gaza.
This is from February 5th, 2025, so almost a year ago. We're closing in on it, 9 months ago. Trump won't rule out deploying U.S. troops to support rebuilding Gaza, sees long-term U.S. ownership. U.S. ownership of an area in Israel. Oh, this video's about to start getting good now. This is from November 17th. UN Security Council approves Trump's peace plan for Gaza. The United Nations gave Trump the go-ahead on his plans.
So what do we have here now? A global peace board, world leaders, a deal in the Middle East, and Bible prophecy exploding overnight. This breaking update may be the clearest sign yet that the tribulation framework is forming right before our eyes.
Hey friends, I've got something absolutely massive for you. Over the weekend, something happened that could possibly lead to the fulfillment of not one, but two prophecies in Daniel that relate and point to the end of tribulation. I've got your news. Let's get into it. First, real quickly, let's cover what happened, and then I'll give you the scripture that explains why this is so important. So you can see here, The Guardian reports over the weekend that U.S. is advancing to a plan to permanently divide Gaza. This is something you'll commonly hear referred to as the two-state solution. The United States Mission to the United Nations is the name of this website, and it says, Joint Statement on the UN Security Council Resolution on Gaza. Let's read it. The United States, Qatar, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Pakistan, Jordan, Turkey express our joint support for the Security Council resolution currently under consideration, drafted by the United States after consultation and in cooperation with the Council members and partners in the region. The historic comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict, announced on September 29th, is endorsed by the resolution and was celebrated and endorsed in Sharm el-Sheikh. We are issuing this statement as the member states that gathered during the high-level week to begin this process, which offer a pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. We emphasize that this is a sincere effort and the plan to provide a viable path towards peace and stability, not only between the Israelis and Palestinians, but for the whole entire region. We look forward to this resolution's swift adoption.
And what's the Bible say? When they say peace and safety, then suddenly destruction shall come upon you. And they're naming this peace and security.
Okay, let's look at some scripture. To understand why this is so important, we have to understand the original covenant and what God said initially to Abraham. And this is God speaking to Abraham in Genesis 17, 7 through 8. He says, I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant, everlasting, to be God to you and to your descendants after you. I will give to you and to your descendants after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, for everlasting possession, and I will be their God. A lot of end times prophecy is revealed to us in the books of Daniel and the book of Revelation. And the book of Daniel very specifically speaks on this, but it's in a chapter that's talking about the end of tribulation. So to see things setting up right now for something that we know isn't going to happen at least until 6 or 7 years from now, maybe a little bit longer, is really eye-opening to point us to exactly where we are right now. It just tells us we are so close. So let's talk about it. So in the 11th chapter of Daniel, we have some things that have happened already in history up until we get to verse 36, and everything from there to the end of the chapter is talking about future events that are to come, primarily during the tribulation. And if we fast forward to Daniel 11:39, we get some verbiage in talking about the political gain that the AC will attempt to get by splitting and dividing the land of Israel. And Joel 3:2 talks about how the nations will be judged for dividing the land of Israel. Deuteronomy 32:8-9 talk about how God himself sets the borders for Israel. Micah 4:11-13 talk about how the nations surround and attempt to seize Israel and divide her and conquer her. And Zechariah chapters 12 and 14 talk much the same. And you can find it in even more places, but this is something that is talked heavily about in the Bible. Now, I will say that some of these prophecies were fulfilled in the past, but also we find in the Bible that a lot of prophecies are twofold, and we have a first fulfilling and then a second fulfilling. But some of these prophecies are very specifically, as in Daniel, talking about end times and tribulation. So there's another one that I mentioned, and it's also in Daniel, and it's just a few verses down. So at Daniel 11:45 says, He, and he being the AC, will pitch his tents of his royal pavilion between the seas being the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, and between the holy mountain, which is Mount Zion, Israel. Yet he will come to his end, and no one will help him. Now this is the very end of tribulation. This is at the war of Gog and Magog. This is how it all ends. So the fact that this is happening right now is also very concerning. Okay, friends, I'm going to leave you with this. Yet again, another sign pointing towards things that are to come and the setting up of those events currently. The U.S. led resolution on Gaza in the UN Security Council, and it says this is huge, y'all. The United States has circulated a draft resolution to the UN Security Council endorsing President Donald Trump's 20-point Gaza Peace Plan. We know this. Go down, and it says authorizing a 2-year mandate for international stabilization forces facilitating humanitarian aid, outlining a conditional pathway toward Palestinian self-determination and statehood. What this is saying is that, and I've seen this in multiple places, is that the U.S. is talking about pitching their military tents in between Israel and Gaza. And the fact that that is right in the same area that Daniel 11 spoke about really just pounds home the fact that we are so close to tribulation starting, which means...
Listen up. Yesterday, the UN Security Council approved Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. And they literally said, let us vote for this resolution, not as a compromise, but as a covenant. As in a covenant for peace and safety. Not only that, but today is the 322nd day of the year. And we all know about the Skull and Bones Secret Society with the number 322, which is their order number or stands for the Brotherhood of Death. I find it very odd that on the 322nd day, they're voting on the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Not only that, but the internet today was crippled by a Cloudflare outage with dozens of sites, including X, Spotify, and Uber down, and worldwide chaos.
And what does Daniel talk about with this covenant? It's a false peace. Some interpretations of Bible prophecy, particularly those focusing on Daniel 9:27 and Matthew 24, describe a false peace treaty that the antichrist will make with Israel, which will initiate a period of tribulation. This treaty is expected to be a deceptive 7-year agreement that will be broken in the middle, leading to war, the abomination of desolation in the third temple, and the antichrist invasion of Israel. Listen to this. The United Nations Security Council approves Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. This U.S.-sponsored resolution turns Trump's plan, whose plan? Trump's plan, into an international mandate, allowing stalled security and reconstruction measures to move forward. November 17, 2025, PBS News. UN approves U.S. peace plan authorizing an international stabilization force in Gaza. And who's going to head up this board and this peace plan? None other than Donald Trump himself. The Antichrist? The U.S. resolution endorses President Donald Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan, which calls for a yet-to-be-established Board of Peace as a transitional authority that Trump himself would head. United States leads the peace process with Trump as the head leader. Trump says most major world leaders will be on the U.S.-led Board of Peace overseeing Gaza. And y'all, this reminded me of the verse in Revelation when the whole world is going to be divided up into 10 regions, and the Antichrist is going to give power to the 10 leaders, and they're going to give up their power and their authority to the beast. And I've done a whole video on this before. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet in the beast system, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And we looked it up that the power and the strength is their sovereignty. We did a whole deep dive on it. They will give the sovereignty of their nations to the beast, their power and their authority and their sovereignty to the beast. And these kings shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and they that are with him are called the chosen and the faithful. And Trump comes out and announces that most of the world leaders will be on a U.S.-led Board of Peace overseeing Gaza, that he himself is going to lead. He's going to lead this and give power to kings of the earth on this board. Y'all, is this looking prophetic or what? Trump tells the Saudi crown prince, the one that dismembered the journalist, I hope your highness will be on board, Trump says to the Saudi crown prince Mohammed bin Salman during a dinner the president is hosting for him at the White House. This board of peace that Trump himself is going to head up, that's going to be a universal mandate. A board of peace is a transitional governing body called the Board of Peace, which Trump intends to chair, would oversee Gaza's reconstruction and economic recovery. Economic development plan. The plan calls for a Trump economic development plan. Trump is rebuilding Israel. Trump, the plan calls for a Trump economic development plan. A Trump economic development plan. He calls us all to receive. To rebuild and energize Gaza by using expertise from thriving modern miracle cities in the Middle East to attract investment and create jobs. Funding. Reconstruction would be financed through a fund backed by the World Bank, the same people that are pushing the implantable chip for payments. I did a whole video on that. Reconstruction would be financed through a fund backed by the World Bank and an international donors conference, relying heavily on contributions from who? The Gulf states. The Trump administrations had clarified that this is not intended, that it does not intend to use U.S. funds for the reconstruction. Y'all, the UN just approved a Trump economic plan that's going to give Trump power over this, and Trump's going to bring others on underneath him. This is sounding very prophetic. Somebody posted this. It's not from me. Oh, somebody, Jeffrey Grider. Something stunning and yes, even shocking took place yesterday, and yet it went unnoticed by 90% of all Christians living anywhere in the world. We just watched as the leader of the free world, President Donald Trump, was handed complete power by a 13-0 unanimous vote at the UN Security Council to create his board of peace that take total control of Gaza, the very same Gaza that God gave to Abraham and the children of Israel in Genesis 15 land grant. That was yesterday. Today, Trump gave a royal welcome to the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman at the White House, where they talked about, among other things, the Abraham Accords, the two-state solution, and what's going to happen in Gaza. If all that doesn't snap you to attention, you are spiritually in a coma, and it's time to wake up. The UN just gave approval to one man, to Trump, to head up the reconstruction of Israel. Y'all, and Trump is going to head this up himself. And it's going to be a global, international mandate, whatever Trump decides. Trump is going to be over the reconstruction of Israel. And I can't help but wonder what is going to be included prophetically that will be rebuilt in Israel. And y'all remember in February, Trump released this AI-generated video, Trump Gaza is finally here. And I did a whole video on that, breaking down the symbolism that was in that video. And the first thing I noticed was a goat head where it says Trump Gaza. Okay? The Baphomet. Trump Gaza is finally here. He's been planning this for a minute. Let's look at it. Trump shares AI video depicting a restored Gaza. And his name is all over it. It might as well be called Trump City. Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. And we talked about this. Donald Trump is going to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. And I talked about in one of the other videos that the devil transforms himself into an angel of light. This is painting Trump as a savior. Donald Trump is here to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. And the UN just gave one man absolute authority over. Do y'all see what's happening? Let's back up. Donald Trump ain't setting nobody free. He's enslaving. Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. A golden statue, a brand new light. We don't need a new light. Jesus Christ is called the light of the world. We don't need a counterfeit light. Donald Trump is here to set you free, bringing a light for all to see, bringing a new light.
All to see, no more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
And just like in the book of Daniel, when they erected a golden statue and everybody was supposed to bow down to worship, Trump's AI-generated vision of a restored Gaza is a huge Trump statue in the middle of Gaza. Russ, the Christian singer in the 80s, had a song that was called "Not Going to Bow to Your Idols." How many people are about to bow? Now, Trump has been given sole authority to rebuild Gaza. Y'all, this is huge. This is huge. Okay, on December 6, 2017, President Donald Trump officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and ordered the U.S. Embassy to move there from Tel Aviv. The action fulfilled a long-standing campaign promise that was based on the Jerusalem Embassy Act of 1995, which had previously bypassed by other presidents with 6-month waivers. And y'all remember the Sanhedrin sent Trump a letter making him the head of the International Divine Court? We did a whole video on this, but man, the pieces are all coming together. This is February 14th, Sweetheart Day, 2025. The Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin is who declared Jesus Christ guilty of blasphemy and said he needed to die. That same Sanhedrin rejected Jesus, and Jesus said, if I came in my name, you would receive me not. But if another comes in his name, him you will receive. And the Sanhedrin that rejected Jesus are receiving Trump. Sanhedrin letter to Trump. You, not Jesus, you, Trump, have been elected to fulfill a heavenly mission. The Sanhedrin published an open letter to President Trump blessing him for his putting faith at the forefront and establishing the White House Faith Office. The Sanhedrin called on the president to establish an international divine court for all nations. Is Trump going to establish this in his reconstruction of Gaza? May Hashem, God literally the name, the creator, bless you and your nation. This refers to President Trump announcing last week the National Prayer Breakfast to create a White House faith office. Okay, it says the Sanhedrin letter continued, your recognition of the importance of religion in public life is a step forward toward restoring moral values and spiritual leadership in the world. The Sanhedrin then listed the Universal Moral Code. So Trump is going to have global authority in this board over Gaza. The religious and political leaders of Israel want Trump to create an international divine court and restore a universal moral code. What else, y'all think about this, what else could Trump rebuild in Israel with all this authority that is being put in his hands? And in 2017, he recognized Jerusalem as the capital. Is the third temple proposed to be built in Jerusalem? Yes, the third temple is proposed to be built in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount, the same historic location as the first and second temples. The project is a sacred goal for many Jews, particularly Orthodox Jews, though it is a highly sensitive and contested issue due to the presence of the Dome of the Rock, or the Holy Mosque, that is currently on that site. I typed, is Jerusalem going to be involved in this global Gaza peace plan? Yes, Jerusalem is involved in discussions surrounding the Gaza peace plan, primarily as a central symbolic and political issue within the broader Israeli Palestinian conflict. The current plan, largely driven by a U.S. administration that's going to be headed by Donald Trump, largely driven by the U.S. administration, focuses heavily on post war Gaza governance and security, while previous and ongoing peace efforts historically address Jerusalem's status as a core and often contentious final status issue. Key aspects of Jerusalem's involvement include symbolic focal point. Jerusalem is a profound religious and political significance to both Israelis and Palestinians, often invoked in names of military operations and political movements, and is a major point of contention in the overall conflict. Historical plans. Past peace proposals, such as the UN Partition Plan of 1947, envisioned Jerusalem as a separate international zone. Other plans, like the Camp David Accords, excluded Jerusalem from the proposed self-governing authority for the West Bank and Gaza. The two-state solution, the internationally backed two-state solution framework, generally proposes East Jerusalem as the capital of a future independent Palestinian state, an idea Israel currently rejects. Recent proposals, the specific 2020 U.S. peace plan, proposed that Jewish neighborhoods of Jerusalem would remain under Israeli sovereignty and Arab neighborhoods would fall under Palestinian sovereignty, but did not guarantee a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Current Israeli leadership, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, has firmly rejected the idea of linking the Gaza plan to the creation of a Palestinian state with capital in Jerusalem, considering it sheer madness after the October 7th attacks. Ongoing discussions, while the immediate focus of recent UN-approved plans is on the stabilization and reconstruction of Gaza, the long-term resolution of the entire conflict, which invariably involves Jerusalem, remains a subject of ongoing, albeit stalled, international and regional discussions. In summary, Jerusalem is not a direct operational part of the immediate post-ceasefire Gaza plan, which deals with security, aid, and reconstruction in Gaza Strip, but Jerusalem is a critical and unresolved issue in any potential comprehensive and lasting peace agreement. So, how far is Jerusalem from Gaza? Jerusalem is approximately 44 to 48 miles from Gaza City. And I just found it interesting that the number 45 and 47 is in the middle of that. Jerusalem is approximately 44 to 48 miles from Gaza in a straight line. Will the Antichrist sit in a third temple, declaring himself to be God, to be worshipped in Jerusalem? Yes, a common biblical interpretation of Christian and Jewish eschatology is that the Antichrist will sit in the rebuilt third temple in Jerusalem and declare himself to be God. You know, the same place where they're wanting to put a golden idol statue of Trump. Oh, well, that out in the square won't be enough. The Antichrist is going to be sitting himself in the rebuilt third temple, demanding to be worshiped, declaring himself to be God, and to kill those who refuse to acknowledge him as God. And look at this. This is from November 14th, 2024, before Pete Hegseth was announced to be on Trump's cabinet. as the defense secretary, but now it's the Department of War. He said the third temple could be rebuilt on the Temple Mount where the mosque currently sits. And Trump is going to be in control of the entire reconstruction. Next, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth called for a new Jewish temple at the holy site. Former TV host said in 2018, there is no reason the miracle of construction could not take place at the site of the mosque in Jerusalem. Donald Trump's choice as the next U.S. Defense Secretary has called for the building of the third temple at the site of the, I don't know how to say it, mosque in Jerusalem. Pete Hegseth was picked by the incoming U.S. president for the role following his election victory earlier this month. Hegseth has previously touted his avowed pro-Israel credentials, which derive in part from his fundamentalist Christian beliefs. Speaking at an event in Jerusalem in 2018, Pete Hegseth said there is no reason why the miracle of reestablishing the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. In this reconstruction, could we see the rebuilding of the third temple with Trump sitting in it, declaring himself to be God, to be worshiped? He's going to head up this international reconstruction of Gaza and have little kings underneath him. And his Secretary of Defense, could we go to war over it? Pete Hegseth said there's no reason why it cannot be rebuilt. How far is Gaza from the Dome of the Rock, where the third temple would be built? 43 to 48 miles away. Does the Antichrist deceive by promising a false peace? Yes, biblical prophecy suggests the Antichrist will deceive the world through a false peace. This deceptive peace is often described as a temporary agreement, particularly a treaty with Israel that will give way to sudden destruction and war in the latter half of the period. This false peace will make people feel secure before they face unexpected judgment. The Antichrist is said to broker a peace treaty, perhaps in the Middle East, and may even help rebuild the temple in Jerusalem.
And look at what Donald Trump has just done now. He said now Gaza is going to belong to America. Now to you, now you're quiet. You're like, yeah, it's going to go. America, yeah. That's it. Brilliant. No, it's paving a way for the Antichrist to claim that location. So that there can be peace in Israel. Having them in the Gaza Strip has never provided any peace. And look at what Donald Trump has just done now. He said now Gaza is going to belong to America. Now to you, now you're quiet. You're like, yeah, it's going to go. America, yeah. That's it. Brilliant. No, it's paving a way for the Antichrist to claim that location.
Will the Antichrist be the man of peace? Yes, according to Bible prophecy, he will bring a temporary false peace. We're seeing the merging of the false peace. And what did Trump say in the Jerusalem Post January 20, 2025, when he was inaugurated? I want to be remembered as the man of peace. You know, the same day he did not put his hand on the Bible, that same day, he said, I want to be remembered as a man of peace. And the Antichrist will be called the man of peace, who brings a deceptive peace. And now he's been handed the keys to Gaza from the UN to do as he will. The New York Post, Michael Goodwin, Trump miraculously receives praise from the New York Times after the UN backs his Gaza peace plan.
And look at what Donald Trump has just done now. He said now Gaza is going to belong to America. Now to you, now you're quiet. You're like, it's going to go. America, yeah. That's it. Brilliant. No, it's paving a way for the antichrist to claim that location. So that there can be peace in Israel. Having them in the Gaza Strip has never provided any peace.
Are we seeing the king of the world being established, who is also the Antichrist?
Beast is not just a monstrous figure. Beast is not just a monstrous figure, but signifies the Antichrist, empowered by Satan to dominate and deceive the nations. With this power, the beast will shake the earth and deceive the hearts of many. The Antichrist emerged as a beacon of hope, a peacemaker uniting the nations. But his greatest achievement was yet to come. Revelation 6:2. He brokered a covenant with Israel and many nations, an agreement hailed as the solution to years of division and conflict. With this treaty, Israel gained the right to rebuild their temple and restore their ancient sacrifices. Daniel 9:27. And he shall make a strong covenant with many for 1 week. To the world, it seemed like the dawn of a new era, a beacon of peace after unrelenting chaos. But this covenant was more than a political maneuver. It was the first step in a calculated deception. The Antichrist, celebrated as a savior, had set the stage for his ultimate betrayal. At the midpoint of the 7 years, the Antichrist breaks his covenant with Israel and the nations. Peace, once promised, is shattered as he reveals his true nature and seizes ultimate power. Daniel 9:27. This act of desecration marks the ultimate betrayal.
Does the Antichrist betray Christians and Israel? Yes, biblical prophecy suggests that the Antichrist will betray both Christians and Israel, though in different ways. He is described as making a pact with Israel that he will later break, leading to persecution. His betrayal of Christians is implied through the persecution and demand for worship he will inflict on those who refuse to follow him, as described in Bible prophecy. Betrayal of Israel. According to prophecy, the Antichrist will initially form a covenant to protect Israel. After 3.5 years, he will break this covenant and desecrate their holy sites like their temple and demand worship. Betrayal of Israel. According to prophecy, Antichrist will initially form a covenant to protect Israel, and he's going to break that. The betrayal of Christians, the Antichrist will ultimately persecute both Jews and Christians who refuse to worship him. He will demand that everyone worship him and will have statues of himself erected, punishing those who resist. And look who he's creating alignments with. Is he going to betray people?
I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism.
We need to really watch this developing relationship. We'll get into that. So he's trying to say the Saudis didn't have anything to do with 9/11. Osama bin Laden was trying to make them look bad. An alliance is forming between Trump and the Saudi crown prince. Flashback to 9/11.
At think we'll do fine.
Donald, what do you think about all this? You're a developer. You've built buildings all your life.
Well, there's never been anything like this.
Now he's going to rebuild Gaza. You've been a builder your whole life, and now the UN has told him he can rebuild Gaza. Now here's the alliance between Saudi and the U.S. that were supposed to be enemies are now forging.
I think we'll do fine.
Donald, what do you think about all this? You're a developer. You've built buildings all your life.
Well, there's never been anything like this. It's disgraceful, and I hope we attack fast. I hope we find out who it is and go fast. Okay.
Why do you want to come down here today?
I have about 100 men working down here, so just to spur them on. Hi, folks. Hi, folks. I have over 100 men out, and I hear doing an amazing job, so I just want to give them some support.
These are men from here in development?
Yeah, men from my company. We have another 100 coming in a little while.
And how long have they been down here?
They've been down here for about a day and a half.
What have you talked to other developers? Are they donating their time, their men's work?
Well, I hope they are. I haven't really focused on that, but we have a lot of people coming down here and a lot of people down here now, and they're brave guys. A couple of them got hurt, but I'm just want to spur them on a little bit. And I hope we attack fast. I hope we find out who it is and go fast.
I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11.
This is coming out of the mouth of the man who dismembered a journalist and Trump defended in the White House.
Buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism.
The CIA under Donald Trump, who determined in 2018 that the Crown Prince orchestrated the murder and dismemberment of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. President Trump bristling when I asked about that. Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir. The president answering first, defending the Crown Prince, and instead criticizing the journalist who was murdered.
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
But Trump talks a big game until checks are being written to him.
And I hope we attack fast. I hope we find out who it is and go fast. Okay.
It's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand.
I grab that hand. I don't care where that hand's been. Oh, he don't care if the hand's got blood on it?
It's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand.
Look at this Facebook post. This person wrote, fast tracking the beast system. I rarely, almost never post anything political, but I cannot not post this. The Prince of Saudi Arabia is investing $1 trillion into the United States to prepare the foundation for emerging technologies. Call it what you want, but this is nothing more than fast tracking the beast system. Additionally, his game plan is to try to get his foot in the door at the Abraham Accords in order to propose a two-state solution with the end goal of a Palestinian state. This man is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and unfortunately, the president is responding to him like a schoolgirl with a crush. The United States has signed a peace treaty with Saudi Arabia, making them a major ally with the United States, mirroring the security arrangement long in place with Israel. This includes selling them fighter jets and tanks. We have so much to pray about right now that our needs need to be calloused. Biblical prophecy is unfolding at lightning speed. Keep all in your lamps and your eyes wide open. It's about to get real. Here's Trump and the prince talking about his $1 trillion investment to the United States. He's buying the United States. And y'all remember a couple of years ago when then Prince Charles said that the Antichrist would have trillions at his disposal?
Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector. Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector. With trillions at his disposal.
With trillions at his disposal. And Trump is getting trillions from Arab nations.
With trillions at his disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect, beyond even the governments of the world's leaders, it offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition.
I want to thank you because you've agreed to invest $600 billion into the United States. And because he's my friend, he might make it $1 trillion, but I'm going to have to work on him. But it's 600. We can count on 600 billion, but that number could go up a little bit higher. Yes, or I don't know. We'll see. But we appreciate it very much. So Saudi is going to be investing at least $600 billion, and that means investments in plants, in companies, money on Wall Street, and what it really means for everybody that really counts is jobs, a lot of jobs. We have a lot of jobs. So I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job.
We've always been on the same side of every issue. Does that mean that dismembering journalists?
I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job in wiping out the nuclear capacity of Iran.
A thought just hit me. So the crown prince decapitated a man and dismembered a man. And what is the Antichrist going to do? Behead those that don't give him loyalty. And Trump says that he's always been on the same side. They've always been on the same side on the issue.
I think we've done a great job in wiping out. I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job in wiping out the nuclear capacity of Iran. Nobody else could have done that.
Look at both of their hands. Look at both their hands.
No other president would have done it. We had the pilots in the Oval Office right here. We were celebrating a very successful attack. So I had them in with that beautiful B-2 bomber that's over there. And they said, sir, for 22 years, we practiced this attack. Our predecessors, these were very young guys, so 22 years, they said our predecessors and us practiced the attack on Iran, but no president ever gave us the go-ahead. 3 times a year they went out and they practiced the attack. Nobody let us do it until you came along, and I let them do it because it was the right thing to do. You can't have a nuclear Iran. And so we put you in a very good position. But I just want to say it's an honor to be your friend, and it's an honor that you're here. And if you'd like to say a few words, but thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. This relation has been a relation for about 9 decades, and we've been working together for a long time. But today it's a very important time in our history because there is also a lot of things that we're working on in the future. We believe in the future of the United States of America. We believe in what you're doing, Mr. President, really creating a lot of good things and good foundation to create more economic growth, more business in America. And it will also your work for the world peace. I believe, Mr. President, today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing, it will facilitate that, and
I like that very
much.
Go ahead.
You worked hard.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done. And in all fairness, if you didn't see potential in the U.S., you wouldn't be doing that.
Definitely.
You don't want to lose money.
As you said, Mr. President, it's the most hottest country in the planet. But what you're creating is not about opportunity today. It's about also long-term opportunity in the United States of America that will affect American economy positively in the next coming decades, preparing the right foundation of emerging technologies. That's a game changer for America in a good way, and we want to be part of it.
And y'all remember? Prince Charles said that trillions would be at his disposal. Now Trump is getting pledges of trillions of dollars from the tech industry, from countries, from Saudi Arabia. This was 2 months ago. Trump went on his second state visit to the United Kingdom at King Charles's invitation, and no other president was given a second state visit to the UK.
US President Donald Trump is about to leave Washington for a second state visit to the UK, an honor Britain has never bestowed on any other world leader. Over the next few days, Trump will meet the royal family on the invitation of King Charles, as well as the British government, where deal-making will be on top of the agenda.
For those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, this is something that needs to be looked at and prayed over earnestly. And here's a 2026 magazine cover that's come out.
There's a pentagram right in the middle. The world ahead. There's a pentagram right in the middle. The world ahead has released its cover, predictive programming and the priming of the masses. So this is the cover of the 2026 edition. 2 layers mirroring each other. When I put it together, look at that. That looks like it's a pentagram. There's a pentagram right in the middle.
And doesn't that look like Baphomet head on top of the pentagram?
There's a pentagram right in the middle. The world ahead.
This is from The Economist magazine. They always put out very telling covers every year. The geopolitical drift opportunities, okay? So we've got wars, we've got space exploration, we've got the Muslim swords, we've got China, we've got Putin, we've got war, we've got economic collapse. We got more vaccines coming. The creepy World Ahead 2026 magazine cover published by The Economist shows they expect war, pestilence, and financial collapse next year. Is it feasible that an economic collapse could bring in a new digital currency? Yes, an economic collapse could bring in a new digital currency as seen in the creation of Bitcoin after the 2008 recession. And it's also a scenario considered for both decentralized cryptocurrencies and government-issued central bank digital currencies. And the Genius Act lays the foundation for the United States to walk right into this. Marjorie Taylor Greene had said that the Genius Act was the mark of the beast, that it was paving the way for the mark of the beast, and she could not vote for it.
So how close are we to that currency reset we're all looking for? Well, I don't know that, but I do know that down here in the South, another bank is now sending out updates about the ISO 222 global standard messaging service. And if you're in crypto, you kind of know what that is already about, but here you'll see that they're going to educate their customers all about this software, is basically what it is, and how to prepare for it. And yes, the payment system that it's getting ready to update. And that's essentially going to allow this software, once it integrates into the bank, it's going to allow us to send money as fast and quickly as we can, a text or an email. And a really good Google search would be, what's the list of the top ISO 222 compliant coins? Well, there's that one at the top, XRP.
Could ISO 222 support a digital economy, the XRPs? Yes, ISO 222 is a foundational element for a digital economy as it provides the universal language and data-rich framework necessary for modern, efficient, and interoperable digital payment systems. Its adoption supports key aspects of a digital economy. ISO 222 supports the key aspects of the digital economy, from enhanced efficiency to integration of a new financial technologies. Could ISO 222 support an implanted digital wallet? Yes, ISO 222 can support an implanted digital wallet. So when they say come get your digital ID, come get your digital wallet, come get your digital currency, ISO 222 can support that. And the ISO 222 goes global in 2 days. The old financial system will be gone in 2 days. We are marching towards this. November 22nd, 2025 is the end date for the coexistent period of MT and ISO 222 final financial messaging formats, marking the official transition for many institutions to the new standard. They're calling it a new era. The term new era in ISO 222 refers to the global shift to a new financial messaging standard that can support implantable digital wallets, which replaces older, less detailed system with richer instructed data for payments. The November 2025 deadline for its adaptation marks a significant milestone into this transition, enabling improvements in areas like data transparency, interoperability, and financial crime prevention. They are going to be able to monitor more closely everything people do financially. And it's ISO 222 is promoting XRP. The ISO 222 can support implanted digital wallets to hold the digital currency. And I've shown this before, but the man who helped develop the implanted RFID chip called it the mark of the beast, the man who helped build it.
Last night I talked about my involvement in the development of a little microchip implant. And many people have already taken that microchip implant. The news media has talked about it being a good thing. And they will tell you that it's a good thing to have this. Your children won't ever get lost again. They won't be able to give you the wrong medication. You won't be able to lose this thing. And so the plan is underway that you will receive it. I would be remiss if I came to you and didn't tell you that God's word says, don't you take it. No matter how nice they make it sound. Tonight in the Science of Technology, I'm going to be showing you some things. I want you to understand that there is a conditioning that is done in people.
And he causeth all, the phrase, and he causeth all to receive is from the book of Revelation, specifically Revelation 13:16, which describes a future event where a figure, often identified as the beast or the false prophet, forces everyone, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their forehead. This mark is a symbol of allegiance to the beast and is a prerequisite for being able to buy or sell anything in the new system. It is a universal requirement. So is Saudi making an investment in the United States infrastructure to further this process along? Because Saudi Arabia is already dealing with Ripple. Saudi Arabia, the regional financial power, is not wasting time. The Saudi crown prince who's sitting next to Trump, who's just invested $1 trillion in our economy, Saudi Arabia is not wasting time. It is currently using RippleNet technology across its banks to increase efficiency. This technical adoption puts XRP in an unparalleled position to benefit from the largest financial transformation in the region. February 12, 2025, National Bank of Saudi Arabia partners with Ripple. You know, Ripple XRP that has the implanted chip, that ISO 222 is about to go global in 2 days, and it can support the digital wallet. And Ripple XRP is in Saudi Arabia, and they already have the implanted digital wallet for the cryptocurrencies now.
To our Hackathon project video, where we showcase our innovative solution for the future of digital payments. Our project is called How Ripple CBDC Chip Implants Can Transform Your Life. Ripple is a company that provides solutions for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and stablecoins, which are digital versions of fiat currencies that are backed by reserves or assets. Ripple's CBDC platform offers a comprehensive platform for minting, managing, transacting, and each solution is built on a private ledger that is based on XRP ledger technology, a proven blockchain that has transacted over 70 million times over the course of 10 years, and is trusted by financial institutions around the world. Ripple is currently working with more than 20 countries on CBDC plans, including Palau and Montenegro, who have chosen to partner with Ripple to create their national digital currencies. One of the key benefits of CBDCs and stablecoins is that they can enable faster, cheaper, and more inclusive payments for millions of people who are unbanked or underbanked. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, CBDCs in developing countries have the potential to bank large unbanked populations and boost financial inclusion. But how can you access these digital currencies in a convenient and secure way? That's where Ripple CBDC chip implants come in. A chip implant is a small device that is inserted under your skin and contains a unique identifier and a secure cryptographic key. With a chip implant, you can store, send, and receive CBDCs and stablecoins using your own body as a wallet. You can also use your chip implant to authenticate yourself, access services, and make transactions without the need for passwords, cards, or cash. Here is one of our engineers' live demo of our project using his X-Acid implant chip to launch a Ripple XRP mining application.
I don't know, but it's looking very, very biblical. Could we be looking at the antichrist and the false prophet? But there's an alliance forming between them. And Trump has just been given the keys to rebuild Gaza and Israel, and his Secretary of Defense has a vision to rebuild the third temple. Trump has already released an AI generated Gaza video that shows him at the center of the reconstruction. We are in biblical times, and Trump has been named the head of the board to rebuild Gaza, and some little kings are going to be underneath him to share power with the beast.
And look at what Donald Trump has just done now. He said now Gaza is going to belong to America. Now to you, now you're quiet. You're like, yeah, it's going to go. America, yeah. That's it. Brilliant. No, it's paving a way for the antichrist to claim that location. So that there can be peace in Israel. Having them in the Gaza Strip has never provided any peace.
When they say peace and safety, then suddenly destruction will be upon you. We need to really get our hearts right and to purify our heart and get our mind set on things above and have no division in our heart. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy strength, and with all thy might. And the second commandment is like unto the first, to love your neighbor as yourself. We're getting in biblical times. Purify yourself and be ready for whatever's coming, to stand firm for Jesus. If you appreciate the content that you find on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry?